Weiss here again for the Glue Bomb Show. Well, we're back to the Mad Maestro project, and I thought I'd show you how I've done, what I've been doing so far. You can see I added a little peachy flesh tone to our head. I painted the body. I used a white rattle can, a yellow rattle can, and then, of course, I filled in the flesh parts with that peachy color. And I also did the arms, and I did them in that same color. And here's his feet. I was a little disappointed. They don't really have that line of demarcation. It's supposed to be like there's a sort of a half sock that his toes stick through. It's not really a half sock. There's a name for it. It's those things they wear over your shoes. And of course, they just didn't put shoes on him. But there was no build-up line there. I wasn't sure if I wanted to try and sculpt that in. I decided not to. This one's kind of experimental anyway. I'm toying with the idea of doing another one of these if I can figure a few things out. I have an idea, but I haven't gotten there yet. So anyway, this is the base that he stands on. It's got kind of this weird rock texture. I'm not sure why they did that. On the box art, they show him conducting in a concert hall, but he's standing on this big rock. I don't know. I'm not sure. A couple things I would like to say about this is, they left it open. I painted the top gray and I painted the inside black for no other reason than I just didn't want it to be orange. But I have to admit, they probably should have gone to a little bit of extra effort and made a bottom plate for this piece. Because at this point, there's a little notch back here, and that notch is for a rubber band that holds the Big D battery in place. I'm thinking that's not going to work real well. I may have to revisit that. But for now, we're doing painting techniques, so I thought I would just show you one or two that I like to use. We're going to do some dry brushing, and we're going to do some of this wash method. So I got myself some Americana acrylic. This is black. That's what I'm going to use for the wash on the stone part. So basically, I just take a large brush, big chip brush, and I just start brushing it on. And what we're looking to do is leave some of this in the crevices, of course, and then we're going to wipe off that top layer. Now, I'm using two different paper towels here because our next step, of course, is to wipe all this paint away. And I've got a wet one and a dry one. And the reason for that is, on occasion, the dry ones just don't quite remove enough. And on other times, the wet takes off too much. Now, the paint that I used for the base of this is an enamel, so this black acrylic won't stick too well to it, but that's okay. I'm going to be clear coating over all of this, so I'm not too worried about it either. I've decided I'm going to use a matte black, matte clear to go over the whole thing, so... and then I'm probably going to go back and put a gloss coat over the eyes and the teeth to kind of give that a little extra bump. But overall, I'm just going to use a rattle can for this. This particular thing, I don't know about you guys where you're at, but where I'm at right now, it is really hard to find paint. And we're going to start wiping this away. And so I've had to mix some of my own colors. And I don't mind mixing colors. I've done a lot of artwork in my life. I've been a professional artist for quite some time as sort of a, professional artist in the sense that I get paid to make art for other people. It's not my main living anymore, but it's something that I do. So I kind of know my way around painting and art, but yeah. Anyway, so you can see it's starting to stick in the crevices and cracks there. A little bit more work here to do. There's a couple areas. I actually see a little area that I missed on the gray, which again. So that's what we came up with. That's essentially what black wash is. And some people thin the paint a lot more than this, but I tend to just use it straight out of the bottle or the tube, as the case may be. I'm going to do a little bit of wiping here with the wet paper towel just to kind of take, there's a few areas where it's kind of thick. But overall, pretty happy with this. Again, I have no idea why they have them standing on a big pile of rocks, but that's where we're at. So, that's black wash. Now, I'm going to show you some dry brushing in just a second. All right, so here we are for dry brushing. Now, what I'm going to do for today is, this is a pretty cartoony character. He's not cartoony in the sense that the Rat Fink characters and other things like that are cartoony, where there's a lot of black line area. If that was the case, I would probably just do a black wash on him. But I didn't just want him to be flat either. So I'm decided I'm going to create a little bit of yellow, a little bit of orange to shade in just some of his features, just a little bit around the eyes and a couple other places just to give it a little bit more depth. I'm not sure I'm going to like this, but it's okay because I'm using acrylic and I can always wipe that away if I don't like it. So I want to use a fairly light orange. So I'm going to start with a little glob of yellow. Here's a tip, right? We're going to add some red to it. Red and yellow make orange. But if you add the yellow to the red, you're going to be using a lot of paint. Red is a color that is hard to cover. It kind of dominates. And so we're just going to take a little bit of it. Oh boy. My bottle is blocked, so that's something that happens in acrylic from time to time. So I'm just going to put that. I didn't put the two of these together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my brushes and I'm going to just start taking the red little bits at a time and mixing it into the yellow to come up with this orange color. And I'm actually already sort of happy. That's kind of rare. Maybe just a little more red to it. Now, the name of this technique is dry brushing. All dry brushing means is you have very little paint on the brush. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape off most of the paint after I mixed it. For this particular technique, I am using an old beat up brush. I don't know if you can see this, but it's a little stiff. It didn't get cleaned out real well. That happens sometimes. And then we're just going to put a little bit of orange on at a time, and we're going to brush this on. We'll start off right around his eyes. And we're just going to brush it on very lightly. And I'm seeing something here, which is that my shading paint isn't quite dark enough. But we're going to start dry brushing, and basically all dry brushing is you put it on very dry, you have very little paint on your brush, and then after you put it on, you just brush it around and brush it around until you have a technique that you like. Now, I don't know even how visible that is on this particular camera in the light, but I'm just basically giving a little bit of shadow around the eyes. I'm going to do the same thing around the mouth. I'll also continue and do this in the arm joints. I may even add some gray to these, to his muscles or folds or whatever you want to call them in his shirt, just to give it a little extra, right? That's basically all it is. So dry brushing can work really well. I'll probably put some in here in the gap in the nose here. He's got kind of a weird anatomy, so I don't always know what to call this stuff. But essentially all we're doing with dry brushing is we're emphasizing shadows. We're just making it look a little more 3D. And again, it is already 3D, but we're going to make it a little more so. The thing you need to remember with acrylic is it dries very quickly, and so you want to work fairly quickly with it. So that's what I have for you today, dry brushing and black wash. The next time you join me in this project, we'll be doing some final assembly. All right? Take care, guys. Have a great day. And remember, model building is supposed to be fun, so have fun. One last thing before I go, I just wanted to remind you to please subscribe. Especially if you're enjoying these, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you get a notification every time I post. And one other thing, please share these with other people. Let's spread this great hobby of ours around a little bit. Let's do great stuff together. All right, guys, take care. And remember, model building's supposed to be fun. Have fun.